Four videos showing the ICE killing of 37-year-old Alex Preddy. In the minute leading up to the shooting, he appears to have a cell phone out recording as cars go by, whistles blaring, and shouting heard. As it continues, you can see the man has his arm around someone. Then an agent pushes someone else and he moves between them, then appears to be pepper sprayed in the face. Agents grab him and pull him to the ground. Another angle showing the struggle. The man hit several times. From this angle, it's clear an agent in a gray coat kicks something before reaching into the scuffle. 8 seconds later, coming up with what appears to be a weapon in his hand. A second before shots begin. This agent with a backpack appearing to be the one firing. 10 gunshots heard.
Yep, still got it. Yep. Still got it.
Peace, and blessing. I'm your host, Henry, with your co-host, Shinakma JML, and our special guest, St. Patrick. Today, we're going to discuss Minneapolis. It's on the edge. The ISIS shooting of Alex, Mr. Alex. A moment of silence for Mr. Alex. He's a human being. Okay. How everyone doing today? How you doing, Shan?
Hey man, you already know I'm doing well. I'm just out here trying to survive, I guess. I'm trying to survive the ice too, but it ain't no ice agents. It's the ice age.
Yeah. So how everything going for you, Saint?
Everything going great over here in the sunny California. Right now it's a little dark, so it get a little chilly, but it ain't nothing like I done seen on the other side of the country, man. From where I'm looking at, my brother is down south, he's freezing. You know, so I see my other brother in snowstorm, and you know what I'm saying. So, but here in Cali, you know, we straight,
Okay. I know in Minneapolis, Minnesota, it's freezing. So pray for the people who are gonna protest. You got some people going into churches like Don Lemon. He taking protests to a whole nother level. He going in the church of ICE members and ICE supporters, going in their churches to talk about them.
That's
so
crazy.
We seen here this young man, 37, lost his life in a scuffle with ICE agents. You know, when I see ICE agents, it reminds me of Iran, China, and Hamas. I'm going to go with the end first. Hamas is the covering of the face. Don't want the enemy to recognize your face, your family, and who you are. Remind me of China, secret police. And remind me of Iran, of the culture police come out like snatch you out the street. So now we see a lot of conflict between citizens with ICE than illegal immigrants and ICE. So what is one of y'all take on this?
Well, from my take, I have to say this. I don't look at it like from immigrants and ICE. I look at it from American citizens against the federal government, right? And if you say, why do I look at it from the U.S. citizens, from the American government, is because those are federal agencies. You know what I'm saying? Those are not just individuals. Those are not like county, city law enforcement. Those are federal law enforcement. They are supposed to enforce federal laws. And it's mostly like the Gestapo. You didn't name the secret police of the SS. You know what I'm saying? The Nazi fascist Germany. You know what I'm saying? In the 1930s. You know what I'm saying? How they round up people and executed them. How they just did whatever they like, and anybody that protested against them or had anything negative to say, they eliminated those people. You know what I'm saying? This ain't like gay pandas in China and they come and arrest you. These people says, hey, we want to practice our rights as citizens. You know what I'm saying? And the federal government say, not on our watch. You know what I'm saying? You have no amendments, you have no rights, and we're going to show you that if you're not wealthy, you're not financially successful, you cannot say anything in America. You cannot protest. You cannot go against the federal government in any form that is fashionable. And the right to bear arms, you just seen, they would disarm you, execute you, and then just say, "Hey, man, he was just another person getting in our way. We were just following the law. The law says there is nobody that can stop or protest against the federal government without the federal government putting them on a hit list." So that's my take of it. You know what I'm saying? I got more to say, but you know what I'm saying? It has a lot to do with the rich against the poor, you know? And that's what it's always been about. You know what I'm saying? Caucasians, you know what I'm saying, in America, had always sat on the privilege side because they wanted to conquer and to divide the poor people and the rich people. When this whole white and black status came about in the United States in the 1700s, to find out, all right, why is it that all the poor people riding against the rich? The rich decided, hey, let's put a class system, but we're gonna do it by color code. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, white was created, black was created, and now we was divided. We've been divided ever since. The rich, the federal government, those institutions against all poor people. Oh, how do you divide the poor people? Divide them about their differences. What's the easiest differences you could detect? You know what I'm saying? Color. Bam, those color differences, divide those. We keep those. We keep certain people as sheep, and we keep some people as wolves, and we keep some people as shepherds. The shepherds we gonna use to control the people and manipulate the people into doing certain things that we would like. And then if they get out of line, we're gonna feed them to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? If the sheeps get out of line, we're gonna feed them to the wolves. And that's what we seeing. We're seeing sheep getting out of line, getting fed to the wolves. You know what I'm saying? Those poor people that don't respect what the wealthy and the federal government doing and protesting about it can get killed. It doesn't matter. We as African Americans always knew, don't buck against the police. You will get killed. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? That's always been happening. You know what I'm saying? Now it's coming around that Caucasians are experiencing. Latino people has always experienced it along with us, even though they turned the other cheek and said that that doesn't happen or it's not existing. Those people are bad people among our communities. You know what I'm saying? That's not the majority of us. You know what I'm saying? But for us, too long in the public image, it has always been, oh, black people are the most rowdy. We're going to protest and we're going to stick up for people's rights and so forth, and we're going to be on the front line. No longer. We no longer doing it. Now other people getting to see that, hey, it wasn't just us saying that the federal government is crooked, that they will kill you. They have no remorse for citizens. They don't care about your tax dollars. They don't care about your position in society. If you are in their way, they got to kill you. ICE $1 billion industry right now. You know what I'm saying? They got jails. They got officers patrolling the streets. They're a whole new law enforcement agency all in its own with $1 billion, you know what I'm saying, supporting them, backing them up to do what they need to do. And, you know, it's unfortunately that this Caucasian gentleman did pass away, you know what I'm saying, to highlight this issue that we're facing across the nation at this time. But it's been happening. We're African Americans have always said this. We've always been the first ones to point out that, hey man, something ain't right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't right. And anybody in America could get it. You know what I'm saying? You Caucasians ain't safe. Y'all could get it too. You know what I'm saying? It's not widely known, but Caucasians are the highest number of police fatalities in the United States. You know what I'm saying? They're more likely to die by police brutality than any other group. And they will not speak out against the federal government because, you know, they uphold white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? They uphold this belief that because you're Caucasian that you're better. And that's not the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's your character. Martin Luther King has always said that. It's your character. It's always been your character among us. You know what I'm saying? And we get to see these people character up front, outright, on national scenes. You know what I'm saying? And we have a lot to discuss in this nation on how to bring about a more equitable, a more judicial, a more justice society. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't leave it up to the next generation, but we should take the reins as of now to uphold that, man, this ain't right. Our government is supposed to make our lives better, not execute us for no reason, for no crime other than to take pictures of them and pack our pistols. You know what I'm saying? But that's me, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm out of line, maybe, for thinking that way. You know what I'm saying? Because most governments around the world operate like ours.
I would have said personally, if I didn't see the video and you're just going by word of mouth what happened, then you would be saying what you would be saying. But if you see how they're moving public executions, this is a public execution, you know.
That's been
And
true.
I want to say, I'm looking at it from a different angle than you. I'm looking at it as now it's a pattern because they done killed 2 white people in a row. Remember, it's supposed to be immigration customs enforcement, right? So they killed 2 white people in a row, right? And the first one they killed was a white woman, unarmed woman
She
killed.
was on. She was on. I'm sorry to tell you that vehicle was a deadly lethal
No, but
weapon.
she didn't have a firearm like this gentleman.
Yeah.
She didn't have a firearm. I'm talking about the second time she hit him with they killed that man Alex, and it was automatically unnecessary. First of all, they pushed that lady to the ground, and all he was doing was trying to help her up. But he stood in between her and the officer to make sure he couldn't push her down again. So he pepper sprayed him. Now it was invalid for him to pepper spray because wasn't any violence taken upon him. Nobody struck him. Nobody threatened that officer, and he reacted in a way where It was gonna be on some we're teaching you a lesson type stuff. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this psychological type of warfare, but I see it all the time because I see when people try to use this type of shit against me in my everyday life. So I already know.
It's
Yeah.
well,
What they're
the
trying to
message,
show. Hold on. What
the
they're trying
message
to
loud and
show.
clear.
Listen. This is the message. Now, you already gave half of the message, St. Patrick, that the government will take anybody out. Right. That's automatic. I was talking to some people about that earlier today, and I had to tell people that you guys don't understand. If you're a government agent, you have a license to kill. Police don't have a license to kill. That's why they can't just run off and shoot somebody. They got to go through a whole protocol escalation of force before they're allowed to use their firearms, their taser, etc. These different flags got to be checked off in order to be able to use those methods. But if you're a government agent or a government soldier, you have weapons free and a license to kill. Meaning, when they send you out here into the public, then they know, first of all, they know they're only sending 5 of you into that neighborhood. And there's a high possibility that if the neighborhood is against the immigration laws, then there's a high probability that it's going to be an escalation of force at that time. So instead of people having to go back and forth over the radios, and instead of people having to use their logic in the moment, but at the same time with limited time space to actually be logical, instead they're just giving them the license to kill. Where if they deem the situation necessary for fatal violence, they will use it because they're superior officers and the people who are the administration have already greenlit this process. They've already greenlit it. Now we already know they greenlit it because we done seen 2 white people get killed. See, this is the differentiation between what happening now and what's happened in the past. Because like St. Patrick said, Black people, Hispanic people, Chinese people, it doesn't matter as long as they're not white people have gone through this type of discriminatory conduct is what I want to say. But this time it's not discriminatory conduct, it's dominatory. They want to dominate everybody. So they feel like if ICE shows it's a pattern that they'll kill white people, then Black people, Latino people, and other races who's involved is going to be less likely to resist or to try to overcome them with force or try to protest these elements, because if they're killing white people, we knew sure as hell they're going to kill us. And then not only that, if they're killing so-called white people in a time frame of when he was completely 100% legal. Remember, a lot of, I don't want to say it like this, but you already know it's true. A lot of the legal gun owners in America is white people. The legitimate, got license, all that stuff. Because, people in the streets, they don't move like that. They don't move with firearm license, conceal and carry permits. So we know, number one, that dude Alex wasn't in the streets like that. Because he wouldn't be moving with a conceal and carry permit out there if he wasn't, like they said, if he didn't have a clean record and all that stuff. You could tell what his mindset is. He's a nurse. He works at the VA hospital for veterans. So you can already see his psychological profile broken down before the ICE agents even did any history. Remember, they didn't look into this guy. It's not like the police where they ask for your license and registration or just your ID. These federal officers is not moving within the Constitution. Remember, they're not uniformed officers. So they don't have to go by the Uniform Code of Conduct. This is well known in the United States codes of conduct, military codes of conduct, law enforcement codes of conduct, but also it's a matter of fact in the international community in the Geneva Conventions. If it's not uniformed soldiers, then they cannot be held accountable to the uniform laws. Now, with that being said, the understanding is that's why they took the gun and then they shot him up. That's an execution. Now, now this is the part that makes them ununiform. If we go back to the video, Henry, right? How many of them got the same exact uniform on and labeling? None of them. They all got different outfits on. They all got different attire and accessories.
So let's play the video back again.
Not all of them got vests on that says ICE.
Let's play the video some more. Let's add some more content to the video. Let's get a gun expert.
We don't hear the first shots fired until after that agent in the gray jacket has the firearm in his hands and is clearly, disengaged from the encounter.
The president of the Gun Owners Law Center telling us this weapon appears to match the gun Homeland Security says the 37-year-old had.
Have to have been in reasonable fear of imminent death or great bodily harm. And that's the threshold that has to be met. And at least what it appears to me, and I'm happy to be convinced otherwise, that at the time that the shots were fired, he had been disarmed seconds before.
Both Dorr and law enforcement expert Mylan Masson tell us it's unclear whether Preddy is resisting or curling up to protect himself.
Now, like I was saying, if you was watching and paying close attention to as I was saying, none of those people have on a legitimate uniform. Watch, Henry, go back and play that, but then pause it when it shows all of them on top of him.
Wait a minute.
Because that's a good shot on that video. Right before they show the gun.
I'm going to see if I'm going to try to pull up a picture. So
all right, that's see. Better. Because this is what I'm saying is is an important aspect into why and how ICE is moving with the motives and the objectives, how they're moving. They're not being bound by any common or constitutional laws. They're being bound by their oath that they took in their office. And as long as the United States and all these other countries is signed on to the Geneva Conventions, then that's the laws of the land in general, how they have to move even amongst their own people. Now,
right here?
No, I didn't want you to get when they pulled the gun out. I wanted you to get before they pulled the gun out when they showed all of them jumping them. Because we need the camera angle a little bit more to the left to see there we go, right there, that view right there. That's just right. Now look, now count how many people is there. That's agents.
More than 5.
How do you know they're agents?
Masked up, because they got different uniform, like undercover agent. No, like
I'm asking you for a reason. Now,
only by the mask.
Listen, they're not agents. These are not agents. Go back to that picture, because the people got to see that. Why they're not agents. These people are not agents because they have no labeling on their clothing. They have no official status. they're only believed to be federal agents because how they're moving in the neighborhoods and because of what people have seen. Now, they are federal agents, don't get me wrong, even if they're CIA or whatever they are, or the Mossad or whatever. But these people that's masked up, first of all, no law enforcement can be masked up because that's a uniform code of conduct. They cannot wear a mask. Anybody that's wearing a mask is off a uniform commercial code of conduct because nobody knows who that is, so they can't be held accountable for their own action. We don't know who these people are with the masks on. We don't know who the guy who ran away with the gun with the gray coat is. We don't know who any of these so-called officers with the body armor on. That means me, Henry, me, you, and St. Patrick could go out here, put on some camo outfits, throw on some body armor that says, and get our boy who works who got the machine to make T-shirts, make some things say ICE on the back of the body armor, and we putting in work in the streets on a street level, and people think we really ICE agents, but we ain't really ICE agents, but we really ICE agents, but we're not really ICE agents because there's no way for you to report anything we did because we don't got stripes on, so you don't know if he's a captain, a lieutenant, a sergeant. And then not only that, how do you know what's their mission status? How do you know that their mission wasn't to hit somebody up and cause another national controversy in the middle of the ice storm? You know what I'm saying? I said what I said in the beginning of the show because I'm taking shots at the psychological warfare and the psychological operation that's being put right in front of you, both consciously, subconsciously, overtly and covertly, objectively and subjectively, through mesmerism and hypnotism, that they're taking you off the actual point of the whole reality, in which it is they just want to control your mind. They don't give a fuck about the playing out of scenarios and stuff like that. The individual scenarios don't work as long as they don't care about that part. As long as you're observing it, and as long as they can make you think some type of way about it, and then you react A, B, or C, X, Y, or Z to the results, that means that they got you inside the pattern. If they got you inside the pattern, then that means they can control your actions based off of reactionary forethought and reactionary response. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think about it. In LA, everybody's already protesting. And as St. Patrick said when he came on the show, it was a beautiful sunny day in California. So of course they could protest. But guess what? Everywhere else where people would want to protest, including the epicenter, Minnesota, is going through the deep freeze. It's out here getting covered with ice. You see what I'm talking about? And then they said, what you mean? Well, you can't be outside 100,000 people across the country deep if all 500 million people within that radius is covered in ice and snow. Ain't nobody going outside in -20 to go protest a shooting. Nobody's going to do it. Nobody's going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's risking their life to go against ice. And that's talking about natural ice. So if St. Patrick was going down the right road, that means that what's the secondary message through the critical first message they've already sent? Don't fuck with the government. Because guess what? Them niggas St. Patrick was on the last show too. Them niggas is using the weather weapons too. They're not just using guns, they're using the weather weapons too.
But now, all right. One thing, you know what I'm saying, when you mention something, you mentioned two things that I want to dive into. One is this: the last time we had mass me running around like that, other than the gangsters in the streets, you know what I'm saying, was the Klan. Was the you know what I'm saying, the unregistered law enforcement of the land that was always Caucasian boys dressed up, hooded up, You can't see their face. You don't know what they really do on the side, what kind of jobs they really working after they ain't with ICE or with their family like, and that like that. You can't hold these people accountable. You know what I'm saying? This is a vigilante group at this point running our streets. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if they really federal agencies or not. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if they are federal agents, that let us know your First Amendment right doesn't exist. Your Second Amendment right doesn't exist. You don't have the right to do none of this. The laws don't apply. You know what I'm saying? To nobody but the poor, and the rich get off scot-free. You know what I'm saying? We seen it. Why Trump is pushing federal agencies through the neighborhoods and the blocks to stop anybody to protest or mess with the cops. They're sitting back on one end. If you're rich, you get a pardon. You know what I'm saying? If you're a drug dealer making millions and stealing money from your corporations and the donors of charities, and if you also stealing money from your employees, you know what I'm saying, pension funds, you could go free. You could run around the country and do whatever you want as long as you got the money to do it. And we get pardons every day.
Hold on. You
We give you pardons every day.
You got to say it correctly, bro.
Oh, I said something.
Federal, because everything you said is a fact. Nothing you said is false. But you need to say the initial part correctly. You mean anybody who has that ranking above a federal level? Because the regular police don't got that level.
No, listen to me. No. Level, I look. You might understand this. They do a certain degree in their Freemasonry.
Yeah, but you're really not still seeing the fact. They're making it crystal clear that federal agents, you're saying, think about what you're saying and what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, because we know that that police and law enforcement look similar to these agents in the ways that they're moving because of the tactics they're choosing to use. But, however, the thing I'm saying is these dudes is federal agents. So how we would see police get arrested and police have to go before the grand jury to see if they might have to go to trial for these dropping these bodies off. You know what I'm saying? Think about what I'm saying. If it was the police, they'd be on administrative leave right now. We know their identity. You see what I'm talking about or no? Where these federal agents got a license to kill. Meaning once they knew in their mind they was going to kill that dude when they found out he had a firearm, they was going to kill him. Because they was going to kill him. Hold on, listen. Because on a federal level, like you said, they don't have to abide to amendment rights, because the way that it's being applied, the knowledge of the scenario. Remember,
all right,
not about who the media and the press and people want to say is involved. Understand me?
Well, what I understood, listen to me.
Hold on. We're talking about legality.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're talking about a legality right now.
All right.
The fact that these people are not uniform, the fact that they're wearing ski masks and they're unidentified, that automatically makes them assailants, enemy combatants. Because how do you know? Remember, in the protocol, a policeman, even a detective or whatever, they got to proclaim that they're law enforcement at a certain point. They have to. It's part of their job, their policy, how they execute the protocol of their job. They got to tell you they're the police, right? But these ICE agents is not even moving like police, like the expert said. You're not moving like police.
Because they not.
They disarmed him and then shot him And
They
because
not
they
they not
disarmed him
police.
and shot him to death.
They're private
No,
corporation.
hold on. Let me say this though. Let me say this part. They killed him because they wanted to send a message that first of all, that they're taking people down even if if they're coming with weaponry and they're in the amendment rights, even people who's well within their rights, because federal is above your rights, because what are you going to do about it? Number one. Number two, that how can you hold someone accountable if it's going to give up classified information, black ops documents? Those people who's operating in an ICE capacity, they was promised when they signed on that their identities would be concealed and they would be withheld from all prosecution. If not, they wouldn't be out here moving around like vigilantes
That's the two
and
bones.
anti-heroes like the Avengers, but they killing folks.
You might want to get
You know what I'm saying? They're out here moving in a solid way that it stays accountable to their oath of office, but it doesn't stay accountable to the actions or defense of the populace. It's to make sure that the system stays in check.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They took that man out with a legal firearm. To show us that if you show up with weaponry, they're gonna put you down too. It doesn't matter if you was being violent or non-violent, they're gonna put you down because so that way they handle you now instead of you becoming a problem later, and then them having to double think whether or not they should have let you go that initial time.
So I see the same tactics getting used over and over that people gotta recognize. The snare campaign, the same campaign that used on African American. We know the process. We know the method. Oh, he had a weapon on him to give the perception that he was reaching for the weapon. And we did not have video cell phones today, we would not even know, because they would have just made a statement that he had a weapon on him, and everybody would got that visual in the head that he tried to grab it. And we also see the campaign of lies, but the media is painting a picture that he was a happy dandy fella. He worked and everything. But where the sympathy out for the nurse that was driving with his wife and daughter in the back seat, and he was a registered gun owner. He wasn't even reaching for the weapon. He was just showing the officer like, "Hey, I got a weapon. I'm with my family. We're moving around." When he was opening the door and getting the seatbelt ready to handle business, they took his life. So we seen American tactics, and they tell us over and over, divide and conquer, because this is what they doing in Iran right now. When we hear America and the financial institution sanction Iran, then they put restriction on their money, their currency, and it caused problem with the people in the divide and fight. But here in America, we see that during all the trials and tribulations of African Americans, we didn't see the fight and the strive of other people fighting for our cause. It's like the old saying, like first they came for the gypsies and we didn't do nothing. Second, they came for the immigrants. They didn't do nothing. We didn't do nothing. At the end, when there was no one else, they came for us, and no one was there to help. I'm not saying that, hey, they come after the immigrants, then they're going to come after American citizens to ship them off or so forth and so weird. But I'm saying that their methods of taking lives, and we also could be worried a little bit. We can be worried a little bit because we understand it now. Them pretendians, they going after them and saying, hey, some of y'all not members of these reservations. We need to see y'all paperwork. It's very scary, but let's go into
and not only that, too, not only that, Henry, they gotta go into the subject matter with some more truth too, that they've been doing it to the police still off duty. That ICE been running up on police officers when they're off duty, trying to get them to show them paperwork too.
Oh, you jumping ahead, but we can show this video. We'll go into it.
Recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a U.S. citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, preventing her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction, and after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left.
So they coming after the citizens. This video show from a police officer, a chief. Show them paperwork, them SS. Show the paperwork. And people got to understand, we going into the digital, the informational age where people got to make sure that they have their real ID. When you go to the store, this is an example, when you go to the store and buy some cigarettes, it's no just showing the ID to the cashier and they look at it and type the information in. No, they swipe it. They scan your ID and the ID tell your age. So now, like, they can just scan and look like, oh, you a second generational immigrant. Your parent was here illegal. Your mother came here and had birth to you in America so she'd get paperwork. No, you're not a citizen. You got to go along with your parents, and you might have never seen El Salvador. You might have never even seen Honduras. You might never seen Mexico, but you got to go.
Henry, guess what? Guess what it sounds like? It sounds like to me. It sounds like X-Men with the Sentinels. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And the X-Men, the Sentinels was programmed, this AI program, right? Which this will really get us thinking about it too. You know what I'm saying? Start combining some of these elements together into one storyline, and it really starts to like show up. Like, so we know that these police fighting against ICE, that's from RoboCop 3, right? Then you got the X-Men with these people who the government is trying to get these people who are irregular because they have these powers out of society. Then you combine that too with the fact that the Sentinels is on some Terminator shit now, where they're cloning people or they're putting out these humanoid robots that look lifelike, that can easily deceive somebody, and they could be putting them together, and then you think these people is really out here ICE agents, regular humans, but really they're Sentinel robots sitting here. Like you said, the Sentinels end up doing the same thing you said in the X-Men. In the beginning, they could only attack you if they detected that you was a mutant. And then as it gets deeper into the series and the mutants become far and fewer in between the people who are mutants, they stop putting them in concentration camps. But what else happens is now the Sentinels, because the limitation on the mutant populace have now gone where now they look makeup to see if not only if you're a mutant, but if you could produce mutant children. Not just, you don't gotta be a mutant, but if you got the ability in your DNA to produce mutant children, they started taking out regular humans based off of those scans that said that. So what you're saying is the exact on point bullseye of that exact technology, right? They're not, so now they're gonna run somebody's name, and then their grandfather is an illegal immigrant, and now Henry, what if the grandfather is on the loose, wanted by ICE? Let's say the grandfather's wanted by ICE, right? Now let's say the grandson or the granddaughter is like 22 or 23 years old, right? Now, even though they're American citizen, ICE knows that their grandfather is here illegally, and he's still at large, descendant accountable for the previous behavior. That's why ICE is approaching you, asking you for your paperwork. You thinking you straight, but then you find out they got a warrant for your granddaddy. But if they can't find him, the warrant says to take you into custody.
But I won't.
If you can't find the grandfather, take any of the next. Hold on, listen to what I'm saying. Take the next of kin into custody.
Wait, hold
because
up.
Now they're gonna either give themselves up.
Let's look at it like this. A father is inside his home. His son, his daughter is at school and school let out, and the son or the daughter walking home from school get pulled over by men in vans, taking them hostage. And from being hostage, they is using them
by drink and go.
Hey, you have to mute your phone, Pat, while you talking. Mute your phone. I'm gonna mute it. But this is real scenario here when ICE agent took a boy and also a girl. There's two instances that I know so far, but it's many cases where they took people's children and hold them hostage. Like, hey, we're going to have this child outside in front of this door, if you don't come out this house, we going to detain your child. And they detained them. 5 years old. Boy and girl. You muted your mom. Oh, I accidentally muted you.
The father ran.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, Henry, on that incident. They used a 5-year-old boy as bait, but it didn't work because the father jumped out the window and ran.
And they did a female also.
They tried to play him out too play him out by bringing the 5-year-old son over there to knock on the door and ask for him, but they knew ICE was with him, so the father escaped, and now ICE took his son.
Yes.
And the state CPS, and you know how we know this is I'm telling you, Henry, this is how we know this is some skullduggery going on, right? Some true skullduggery. Is because ICE held on to this child. You remember, the child is an American citizen. The child is born here. But ICE is going to hold on to the 5-year-old child. They're not allowing CPS to take the child. ICE is not allowing them to get possession of the child. ICE is holding on to the child. Because like I said, they're gonna start doing what the Sentinels was doing. And they're going to start holding the next of kin accountable. So if they can't get you, then the next of kin who they can get, they're going to get and charge them with your crimes. Now what happens if you're a descendant of one of these immigrants who's here illegally and still at large, still in the populace, and they take you and then they send you back to Dominican Republic, or they send you back to Brazil?
So I got a question.
As an American citizen, though, but they send you back because they give your people time to turn their self in, to trade their self for you. But obviously they're not. Obviously, like in the story of this 5-year-old boy, his father don't care enough about him to take the consequence of his action and save his little boy.
So now, my question is this.
Oh my God.
As African American, we know African Americans, if you are an individual in your character, allow you to be open-minded and welcoming to many people. Some of y'all might have Jamaican friends. Some of y'all might have, like Jamal, you got family from Cape Verde. Might have friends from Ethiopia and many other places. So this is not about immigration. This is about illegal migration. Would y'all go to a protest? Would y'all go to a protest and protest ICE behavior? Not the shooting, but their behavior. Would you, as an individual, go and fight ICE and protest? So we're gonna go with you.
Listen.
Wait.
Let me answer this.
Okay, you want to go first?
I got the answer. Because I already said it in my last little rant. The answer is simple. You don't fight against the government. You either fight for the government or you don't. Understand me? Psychologically speaking. Because I'm not going to say whatever you're pretending in your mind you want to pretend it is. Either you're fighting for the government or you're not. That's it. That's the only parameter. Because if you're not fighting for the government, then you're an enemy combatant. This is automatic. People don't know this because guess what? Let me ask both of y'all, since you guys are some high value scholars out here, some academics, you stay on top of things. In 2026, are we still under the Patriot Act?
Yes.
Henry, are we still under the Patriot Act in 2026?
Yes, we still under the Patriot Act.
And I see you too, St. Patrick, saying yes. So, which is 100% fact. So, understanding that, right? What I said just makes more sense than even the answer to the question that you asked, Henry. Either you're fighting for the government or you're an enemy combatant. Even if you're a citizenry, but you take a neutral position, you're still an enemy combatant to the government. Because the government said either you're fighting for us or you're automatically counted against us. It doesn't matter your stance.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. What I want us to really realize that us as the people of the United States, we dictate the government. The government is us, so forth as the people, as we decide what we would like from it. You know, will I be on the front line protesting what the government is doing now? No, I don't see them doing nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? They doing exactly what I'm paying them to do.
They only
You
got
know what I'm saying? Shoot anybody that goes against them.
only got 6%.
Right? And see, St. Patrick right there, that was a perfect example of what I'm saying. That's the perfect example. Either you're in support and you're with the government, or you're an enemy combatant. And now let's go to black folks, right? Now let's broaden the viewpoint to a higher spectrum of Patrick as a demographic, right? St. Patrick as a demographic. We expand that viewpoint. So as black people in general, that's how we feel in the situation, because number one, you don't see our black asses getting shot up out here. You know what I mean? Not over no ICE stuff, maybe over some regular street stuff or some everyday life type stuff, but we ain't getting shot up over no immigrante. It ain't our move this time, right? And it has nothing to do with them being immigrants either, let's be honest. It has to do exactly with what I said. Black people have been on the opposite end of that bullwhip, and we know what it means when they strike you. That means you against the government. So in a general sense, we're not going against the government in a scenario that, one, we know is unwinnable, and two, the more force you push the government with, the greater force it uses in a response. Remember that when that lady got shot, Miss Good, in the SUV, it was only one officer. When this gentleman got shot, it was by multiple officers. And like I said in the last show, if there multiple officers shot you, that means that they was all in a defensive posture. They was already ready to defend themselves. They went in there premeditated. They was going to try to take some defensive action. And they try to make it look defensive, but they don't even got to do that with the license to kill. That's why they just execute him. If you watch the video, they just blow him away. They just hit him up with shots.
So
body full of lead, 10 shots to the body's taking you out, right? Unless you 50. You know what I mean? Who knows? That 10th shot could have took 50 up out of here too. So, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying jokes, obviously, but at the same time, I'm being serious, because a lot of people is not understanding. Either the Insurrection Act is already activated, and the Patriot Act was already been activated for the last 20 years. The Patriot Act been activated. So, you know, if you're attacking federal agents, you have become an enemy combatant, which technically revokes your citizen status based on treasonous action. You know what I'm saying? You're attacking federal agents, that's treason.
So
and I'm not trying to be, and I'm not saying that I approve of or backing up anything they're doing. I'm just saying the general pressure applied by the strategy of the law combined with their tactical strategy of espionage style execution, because there is no uniform code for unidentified assailants.
So let's take
God bless you.
Let's take a moment
God bless you.
to support our sponsors. This is for our number one sponsor, our one and only sponsor, you, the people. Without you, we would not be where we are today. We are standing at 3,400 and something, because I haven't checked the recent counts, but it's steady growing. Soon and very soon, we will be sitting at 4,000 subs. Appreciate the people for watching the shorts and commenting and hitting the like. When it comes down to this video, we need you to do a few major actions. Y'all don't have to send no cash out. We put the cash out way at the bottom of the description, but when you read the description, if you want to support, you can. But the main thing we asking you to do is hit that like. And if you're not subscribed, please hit the subscription button and hit that bell notification to get every new show, every new live, and every short that we drop. Get informed. So now, let's go into the next clip.
Here we go.
Let me get it situated. I know I need a new laptop soon. It's taking slow, but here we go.
Oh, good, bro. Listen, we got to work with what we got. That's what makes it.
I know. Never in the working service, no matter how the technology is.
The fuck, people? The fuck is wrong with you? Honestly.
ICE's execution of Alex Jeffrey Pitty today in Minneapolis shows 3 specific violations in the Constitution against all United States citizens. And I think it's very important that we focus on that, especially since some people think that this is still an attack on just immigrants. It's fucking not. First, let's put into context that Alex Jeffrey Pitty was a 37-year-old United States citizen who was an intensive care unit nurse and had no criminal record. Now, first, let's talk about the lead up. In this footage, you can see that Alex was originally confronted by ICE because they were annoyed that he was peacefully recording and protesting them, which by the way is protected by law and is basically the First Amendment of the Constitution. ICE agents didn't like that he wouldn't put his phone away, so they escalated and agitated by pushing him back unnecessarily and pepper spraying him in the fucking face. And they started wrestling him to the ground. And you can see there's about 8 men that jump him and wrestle him to the ground. One even starts beating him with a pepper spray bottle. But I want you to pay attention to this guy with the gray sweater. Because in a moment, you're going to see him reach onto the ground. And I'm going to show you a different angle so that you can see exactly for yourself. Here's the guy with the gray sweater. And there it is. Boom. In this clear still visual, you can see an ICE agent run away with what seems to be Alex's gun, which he had in the back of his pants. Now, let me be clear. According to the Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, Alex was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. He legally had the right to conceal and carry a gun, and it had already been fucking removed from his possession while they're still beating him on the ground. But even after the gun was removed from the scene, he was shot over 5 times and executed in cold blood on the streets of fucking Minneapolis. He had no criminal record. He was peacefully protesting, and he had a permit to conceal and carry. He did all the right things and was still executed on the street by a state-sponsored terrorist organization. They violated a U.S. citizen's First Amendment right to free speech and assembly, his Second Amendment right because they didn't like that he was bearing arms, and they violated his 14th Amendment right to due process by acting as judge, jury, and executioner by murdering him on the fucking streets. If you think this is all just about immigrants, then you don't understand fascism. This is what it looks like when the state decides that the Constitution is optional, and you could be fucking next.
When we say SS, we not talking about SS Impala. They some nice cars though.
Yep, we talking about the SS, the Luftwaffe, boy.
Yes, we talking about the
Luftwaffe.
SS, Secret Service, and
yeah, the Luftwaffe, nigga. You know,
and I want
if they sent them boys for you, if they sent them boys for you,
I want people to realize something real quick.
Yeah.
Recently on the news, they said they broke into an ICE vehicle. And in their record, the leader of the Proud Boy was listed as an ICE agent. Don't know if it's real or so, but that's the rumors that been going around.
Hey, and not only that, too, Henry, they had the list of all the undercover FBI agents and ICE agents and CIA in the area.
So we got to understand also that
that's that type of stuff that you got to be careful with, because now, like I was saying before, these raggedy people in the hood, you know, they could already be out here maneuvering like they're these people, using their identity because they know the names and stuff now.
But what I want to see
if they run up on them looking like ICE or looking like the police.
I want to see what the NRA gonna come out and speak. I want to ask the logic question that the regular people might be thinking or might have slipped their mind. If you going to bring a weapon to a fight, like when a police arrest somebody, like, okay, let me give an example. I got in a fight at a bar. I left the bar, went inside the car and got a weapon. And then I'm going back in. There's a tent. That's the attention, your attention of the situation. What are you going to do now? Let's take that out the mind and add this scenario. I'm going in the club with a gun on me because in my mind, I already know this is a dangerous place. And eventually, if I have to, I'm going to use it. So with that scenario and logic, this 37 years old man went to a protest or ICE operation with a loaded weapon. Why you didn't use it, young fella? We already see if you don't use it, they still aiming for you. I'm gonna ask the logic question. I'm gonna ask the question that people don't ask. Why did you not duck behind a car and start handling your business like you in Iraq or something and start saying ICE? You don't have ICE on you.
Henry,
You don't have no
hold on.
badge. I'm going to do my constitutional right and fight foreign and domestic enemies.
Now, see, Henry, this is why I want to just say something, right? You and St. Patrick have extremely opposing views on the circumstance. However, it goes back to exactly the psychological operation, which I was saying. Are you with the government? Because if not, everybody else is against the government, right? So even if he went there with the intent of a peaceful protest, the fact that he brought that firearm meant that he was ready to go to war with the ICE agents.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think he was applying, and that doesn't. I don't think he was applying the science of the situation correctly with the way that he was moving as well, knowing that he was on that type of time. So, Henry, you would be still correct in saying that he should have opened fire on the ICE because he knew he brought a gun to that scenario and they was going to misinterpret that anyway. So he should have already...
No. He didn't have enough firepower. He didn't have enough firepower.
Listen, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear
Wait.
Because you want to know why I don't want to hear that? Because that's illogical. Hold on. Let me say that. Let me say this. Because St. Patrick, what he said, it's to regular people, it's going to sound logical, but it's illogical. Because no matter how much weaponry or how much firepower he had, how much ammunition he had, they was wetting him up. See, because you guys keep forgetting, the government is like Agent Smith out here. Say he would have shot and killed 2 of them ICE agents and the other 3 would have had to duck down behind a car, they're automatically calling in a helicopter support. They're automatically calling in dudes with AR-15s, full body armor, Stingray technology, jamming all your phones and stuff, and then hitting you up with fully armored trucks and all that to come pull up before they come to execute you. There's no giving up anyway. You see what I'm saying? It's some. Now let's bring in a relevant piece of data to busting up the matrix, right? Because I always go into the relevant data. It's not always about what you feel like is the correct information. It's about how is it relevant to the circumstance, not is the information on point when it comes to academia or stuff like that. It's how it also executes in the circumstance, because the academia might be wrong based on the odds of the circumstance. You know what I'm saying? That they can say that if you put a lighter on gas, it's going to always light up. But what if it's under the ocean? It's not going to light up. So you know what I mean? That's what I mean based on the circumstance. So people can have an understanding. Now, based on the circumstance, he was already going to go there. He had to have in his mind he was going to get killed by ICE as one of the outcomes because he chose to bring his firearm anyway. To be on the truthful side, right?
I don't think.
And then on the other side of that,
I don't think.
On the other side of that, the government was prepared for that.
But what you had to say?
Well, I don't think that he was expecting that response. You know what I'm saying? The gentleman that passed away that was murdered, I don't think that was his response. I think when he looked in the mirror, he said, "Oh, these are my people, and these are my people, and they doing something wrong. Let me show them by peaceful protesting, by recording them to show them, you know, parody when they look back at my video and maybe see themselves, it might take awareness. I'm gonna give him that credit and say that he wanted them to see that, hey, I'm gonna take aware of what I'm doing and I'm gonna stop doing this. You know, I got elected. This is not American. This is not what I should be doing. I
Yeah,
should be
but
doing
you gotta
something else.
remember, say,
Right.
Patrick, right? In
When
the
I
most
look,
basic logic, right? Hold on, let me ask you a question. In the most basic logic to get a greater understanding of where I'm coming from. Because I'm saying that it's so deeply ingrained of a mesmerism in a psychological operation that it even goes to the extrasensory perception before what you're speaking about in the logic. Because let me ask you a question. When you get a firearm, do you not know that you could be killed by a firearm when you have it? Is that not the rule?
I understand
If you
that.
live by the
I'm
gun, you
from a
die
whole
by the
different.
gun,
I
correct?
look, you know,
Hold
I
on, hold
move.
on, hold
You
on,
know,
hold on, because it's a reason into why I'm saying what I'm saying. You live by the gun, you die by the gun is the
die by the
automatic
gun.
rule,
You
right?
so right. You so right. I
So
agree with you.
let me
I
hold
agree
on.
with you.
I gotta say this part. I gotta say this part too. Because it's part of it. You could follow the law, right? But your consequence could be somebody else don't follow the law. They break the law. You see what I'm saying? And that might be why you have a firearm to defend yourself from that. But when it's the people who are in charge of the law breaking the law, you might not, by the time that, like with this gentleman, by the time you get deep into the interaction, it's too deep for you to do anything to defend yourself.
Hey, I agree with you 100%. I understand
But
where
they
you
knew
coming
you
from.
was gonna bring that
I
firearm.
understand.
Hold
I
on,
I
listen to what I'm
I,
saying though.
I
They
listen to
knew
me.
you
This
was
is
gonna
this
bring
is
that
what I'm saying.
firearm
This is
because
what
you
I'm
already
saying.
consented to them taking you down with the firearms.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. My issue is this. I have I have uh I have a child that don't look like me. He could pass for other, right? In certain situations. And his perspective of the world is the same as mine. I grew up that I knew my parents instilled in me at an early age of law enforcement, what they're here for, and that they are not for me. They're for a certain selected group of people that has certain interests, right? And they're not exactly there to protect and hold the peace, but more or less to protect property. You know what I'm saying? And not your shit, but other people's shit. So, bam, when I look at Caucasians and they pass away by this federal government, I wonder what was going through your head. I know I was taught, you know what I'm saying, not to pack a pistol around or the law's gonna see that bulge in my chest or see that bulge and take a shot. You know what I'm saying? I don't even have to be aiming at them. And you don't have to have the gun, you just have to have the gun. You know what I'm saying? No question. The First Amendment ain't gonna be questioned. The NRA will not be asked. This young man was following the First Amendment right to bear arms, and now he's dead. They're not gonna be asked of me. Caucasians never had to think like that. That's what I was gonna pose. They never had to wake up and realize, oh shit, nigga, our government gone. You know what I'm saying? The shit that our parents was warning us about, you know what I'm saying? The freedoms and the amendments and all this shit that we were supposed to protect, we gave them away. We gave them away because we was too afraid to speak up on it. When it was happening to the black people, we turned our fucking back on that shit. You feel me? Now it's happening to us. Now we don't know what to fucking do now. Oh shit. Now we gotta operate different. Us black folks been telling you bitches that, man, this shit, you been gotta operate different with these hoes. These niggas ain't operating on the same premise. The you was talking about the human rights. We never signed the Geneva Convention. We don't have no right. The Geneva Convention don't apply to the United States, the United States soil, or our army. We could do whatever we want. Cluster bombs, we could use them. Gas, we could use them. Biological warfare, we'll use them on our own people. You don't believe me? Look in the records. We'll use them on other people. We don't care. The devil that we've been, the Babylonian devil that we got here in the United States that runs the government, that operates the belly of the beast, is the most wickedest government ever. Great Britain don't have shit on us. We'll drop a bomb on 1 million people and kill them in a second and won't bat an eye and just say, oh, that was the cost of doing war. Our own soldiers, kill them too, and bring them back alive again, and torture Panamanians, Nicaraguans. We'll do the worst, bro. We're the worst government in the world in the history. So when we talk about this, white people never really had to look at it like, damn, we on the hit list. Some have, and some people thought about this. So they started militias and stuff to fight against the government.
Let me reiterate something at this point of what you're saying, because it's important that we keep hitting these people over the head with the truth, because we're hitting them. You're hitting them in the vital areas of the psychological programming, but you got to break people out of the psychological programming too at the same time that you're exposing it. So remember, everything that you just said is the perfect execution of the Patriot Act. It's the perfect execution of it. They're taking people down in the streets. They're making it look like if they'll kill white people, they'll kill everybody, right? That's a psychological program in itself. Think about what you've been just saying about they've been doing it to us for years, decades, century. You understand what I'm saying? But the Patriot Act made it so it's open season on whoever. It doesn't matter if you white folks. It doesn't matter if you black folks. It don't matter if you Hispanic. They got a methodology for
Somali, Haitian, Jamaican.
Now listen. Hold on. They're discriminating and extorting you through the threats of coercion, threats of physical bodily harm and violence, with a lethality that is only rivaled by Mortal Kombat. I'm telling you, son, all they had to put on that video was finish him and then let them shoot him down. And that's a Mortal Kombat fatality right there. That's really on point. I'm telling you, listen. If they would have said, right when old boy runs away with the gun, if they would have said finish him, the police shooting him in unison would have been a straight fatality. That's a fatality. They blew him away. 5 officers shot their firearm on this man, left him bullet riddled. They were shooting so many bullets that the guns was smoking.
I want to throw some icing on that cake. Let me share this with you, because some people, I don't want people to think I'm anti-Semitic, but I'm not. I'm really not. I'm anti-Zionist, but that's a different story. But let's get to it. That's just the truth going to be the truth. And no, the best truth is when you get the truth from the people you're talking about. It's one thing getting the truth of from an enemy of the person you're talking about, because somebody can say, hey, this person don't like me. They can come up with anything. But when you get information from when you get information from the people you talking about, then nobody have nothing to cry about because here you go right here. Now, where these ISIS get their tactics from? Where these police getting their tactics from? We got what? Thousands. Top United States cops had learned in Israel and why it's controversial. Seeking to link Israel to United States police misconduct is a blazing excuse for a century of racism. That's what the ADL say. Let's stop the cap. Let's stop the cap because the ADL, they was started. Why? Because this man back in the day hurt a young female child, and the mob got him from the jailhouse and got him right. And then these people formed. But I don't want to go too much into detail. But even from George Floyd, they've been training police officers. I'm gonna put this and go into another article. Let me share this screen. Here you go right here. Because then going too much in the article, let's see a summary. The delegation to Israel began in the 1990s and wrapped up after the September 11 attack in 2001. What Shin Akuma said earlier, Patriot Act. The sponsoring organization and their Israeli partner framed the trip as an opportunity for American police to learn from a country and police force with many decades of experience protecting citizen population from attacks. But what we see now, because we got camera phones, man, these people brutal. How brutal? We not going to focus on Gaza because they're going to say Gaza a mosque attack first. No, we're going to go into the West Bank. These police force is crucial. They come in there. They allow the settlers to do some craziness. You go after the settlers. Then they come. You throw rocks at them. They level your whole house. Level your whole house over somebody throwing rocks at them. So these are the prime examples that our American police force see, learn from. These are the tactics that ICE is coming with. Play dumb and learn. Like I said, Logic, he did better using it because no matter what, they was going to take him out because we in the African American community walking the street, you on the street, you got your peace because you got some enemies on the next block because it's a block war trying to take over turf, and you got your peace to protect you. Then here go the police, undercover or not, no unmarked car or not, when they bust out and try to arrest you and you try to pull a gun out, even if you trying to throw it, they have a right to pew you. You protesting.
Hold on,
you protesting with guns. We understand.
Say what it is, bro. Say
Black
what it
Panther.
is.
Wait, let me finish this. Remember when the Black Panther said, hey, we're going to go protest right here. And we're going to have our guns to say, police, you is not going to arrest our people. You ain't going to arrest us. We got weapons. We're going to show you that we are not scared to use it. the NRA, the government, they hurry up, run together, and say we need to make some legislation to change this circumstance. So you got this 37-year-old man coming on the scene with a piece. They took it away from him and they executed him. We know, all three of us could agree that this man got murdered.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, he's not. That you guys keep saying misquote. You're misquoting because you keep saying these people are police. They are not police. They're federal agents.
No,
there's a difference in the title.
No, what I'm saying, when it come down to the police, if the
They
police,
all the same, bro.
if our police force is trained this way, what do you think the secret police is trained?
Because they're not uniform, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. The ISIS are not uniform, so they can't be considered officers. That's what you're not understanding about the definition of being an officer versus the definition of being an agent. An agent is not bound by universal codes of conduct, uniform codes of conduct. They're not bound to those laws. They're not bound to that because they're not wearing a uniform. I just asked, hold on. Because this is going to disprove everything that I need to disprove in order to show that these is not police. Show me again on one of these videos the defined markings of who these people are, where they come from, who they work for, and who they individually are identified as. If you cannot do that, they are not a uniform individual. And they are not, that means if they are not a uniformed individual, they cannot be considered an officer either, because a definition in the immediate definition of an officer is somebody who is in a uniform.
That's not true.
That is true.
That's not true. That's not true, bro. That's not true. Let me explain. Let me explain to you. Hey, let me explain to you.
Espionage.
No, let me explain to you why that's not true.
That
way they all the police officers. You don't need no markings. You don't need no badge. You don't need none of that shit to say you're a police officer. We know in the black community how they operate. Right? The police force was designed to catch runaway slaves, to keep the people on the plantation in order. Then after Jim Crow, they moved from the night riders to the real night riders with the hoods. So they blend both. Then when they need to get a large mass group to extend the police force to do extra duties and shit like that, they just swear deputies in. These deputies don't have nobody. They're just the general populace. They'll go to the former market. They'll go to let's say the hardware store. See these Caucasians standing out there. Oh yeah, you different from the people that we looking for. You're sworn in. You're deputy now. Come on in this paddy wagon. We got to go raid. We on a raid. What we looking for? What we looking for is people that look like Hispanic as stick, right? So it doesn't matter. That's High Yellow Brothers. That's people of any people that speak Spanish or any foreign language. You know what I'm saying? That's anybody. You know what I'm saying? If they say hola, grab. Ask them if they got papers. Who's the only people that know that they needed papers in the United States, man? Black people. To go from one plantation to the next, you needed paperwork. You know what I'm saying? You had to have an excuse on how to move around, right? That's why these people up there, anytime, go get them. Bam, they don't mind. And if you stand in the way of you going getting them, you know what I'm saying? You trying to be the underground railroad, you get killed too. You know You know what I'm saying? They want these people in their private jails to make money. Send these people to corporations as slave labor. You know what I'm saying? Put these people on farms as slave labor and pay them for pennies. Then when they start speaking out or they protest, they could ship them back. You know what I'm saying? And if they really get too loud, they ship them to Seacot. You feel me? Another one of our jails in the middle of Nicaragua. You know what I'm saying? This is how they get down, man. They don't give a fuck. That's what we trying to get the mentality. They don't mind. They don't need badges. They don't need none of this to come and terrorize your community and tear it up. And there ain't nothing you could do about it. You feel me? If you decide to do something about it, understand you have to have the consent of the masses to fight against these people. You got to be able to get the ammunition. You feel me? You got to be able to stop the bombs from dropping on your ass. You feel me? Because they will use planes. Ask Rosewood. If you don't believe me, ask the people in Oklahoma. They will fly over and drop bombs on your houses. They don't care. They ain't gonna pay you. You feel me?
Listen, we know
years later, they might offer apology after half of the people that this bullshit happened to has died. They'll offer a half-ass apology and say, well, we didn't really mean it. Our ancestors really didn't mean it. We didn't know. Let's look past that and keep on getting over it, right? They don't give a fuck, right? So is the man gonna get some reparations? You know what I'm saying? What's gonna happen to his family? What's gonna happen to his loved ones? You feel me? What about the other lady? You feel me? They got killed in the car. You feel me?
Listen, how about this? Let me just say this.
So I'm just trying to get it out there to the people to let them know that this free for all. Get it how you live.
Yeah, bro, that's what I've been saying this whole time. Is because of the Patriot Act, it's either you're with the government or you're an enemy combatant. It doesn't matter your social status. It's either you're with the government or you're an enemy combatant. And remember what I said earlier. It doesn't matter even if you take a position of neutrality, the government is still looking at you as an enemy combatant because you're not with the government. So you have to understand the elements of what they're playing with. Because remember, if you're an enemy combatant, that means you have no rights. They made this clear in the Patriot Act. If you are bagged up, you have no rights.
I know. Let's get this right.
Hold on. If you are in the custody of ICE, not the police, because the police still got to play by the citizen rules because that's what they agreed to. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Because they are not masked up and they can be identified for their crimes.
They could get masked up. I didn't see them masked up out here.
Hold on. Let a cop unalive a billionaire's son or a prominent millionaire's son, and you tell me that again.
But that's what I've been telling you, though. It don't matter.
Right, so
it's the poor people against the rich people.
It's not incorrect. It's on point. What I'm saying is hold on. It's on point. It's all encompassing. I'm not worried about trying to debate what you're saying because what you're saying is included in what I'm trying to reason as the outcome because of the psychological operation. They don't care what side of the psychological operation you're on. If you are not with them, this is the only rule they're playing by. That's the only rule because it's the Patriot Act. If you are declared an enemy combatant, meaning that they can actively do that to you. So this man, the 37-year-old, because he went against federal agents, and that now he is considered an enemy combatant. That's why none of those agents are under arrest. None of those agents is going to have to go in front of the grand jury. Nobody is going to be held accountable for that man's death. They're gonna let it be what it is because, like I said earlier, the federal agents have a license to kill. meaning that if they kill you in the execution of their duties, then it's automatically justified, and they don't have to explain anything about why they killed you, because them being there as federal agents already gave them the license to do so if you declared yourself an enemy combatant. And when that man decided that he was going to go in between that lady and the ICE officer, that's when they declared him an enemy combatant, because before that moment, they didn't put their hands on him and they wasn't doing anything going towards him either. They was really going after that lady, and then he wanted to defend that lady, so they beat him down. So you have to understand, that's not, nobody's saying morally he was incorrect. Nobody is saying that he was correct. What I'm saying is the way the United States government is playing it right now, most likely on the orders of Donald Trump, is they're playing it straight to the edge of the Patriot Act. If you do anything to resist or impede the progress of the United States government, you are automatically considered an enemy combatant, and you should be dealt with extreme prejudice. Understand me? That's how these people are thinking, with extreme prejudice, because you're an enemy combatant. You don't want no rights.
I agree. I agree with you, but I also say the police, the regular police, do the same shit. That's what me and you might disagree at. That the regular police do the same shit as what you call these federal people. They all the same fucking group. They all the same people, bro.
Hold on. You're not listening.
Wait. Let me say this real quick.
If the police did this, all of those officers would be under arrest right now.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
Real quick. Let me say something.
Oh, listen. You're not understanding what you're talking about. Hold on. Because you're out of order for the protocol. You're out of order for the police protocol in general right now.
Wait.
If the police would have shot and killed that man, now hold on, let me say it, because you gotta let me say the whole thing, because it's the law. It's not Jamal's opinion. It is the law. You know what I'm saying? This is exactly.
Yeah, all right, Jamal. This is what we're the Patriot Act annihilated. Look, the Patriot Act annihilated the all of the laws. So you don't have nothing to stand up on. There's no First Amendment laws. There's no. You don't have no rights in America.
You're not understanding the caste system, bro. Because if that was the case, then how come Minneapolis police is not shooting down ICE for being in their jurisdiction?
I'm gonna explain. Right. Let me explain this.
ICE holds.
They work together.
Listen, I don't want to hear that. ICE does not. ICE has a higher jurisdiction than any regular cops. Secondly, the protocol is for police. If they shoot somebody, they have to go on administrative leave while being put under investigation. And everybody knows who the cops are who do the shootings, because they are not allowed to be masked up and have their identity concealed. Tell me who those 6 people were who shot this guy, so we can arrest them and we can put them under investigation. It's no knowledge. So guess what? That means that they do not go through the same protocol as the police, and they do have a higher rate of a privilege than police do. Police cannot exercise public executions without recourse. The federal government gave out the license to kill.
I don't know where you live at. I don't know where you live at.
Hold up. Let's have some little decorum. I want to say this real quick. So now to show a bigger picture, we got police. Our normal police who under the principality of local official. You got the city, you got the sheriffs, so forth, so with marshals and stuff like that. Now, when it comes down to the police could then create a unit inside the police force. I say the the SWAT team or the cat team. I'm gonna call it the cat team because in Louisiana you got the cat team. The cat team, their job is to go after violence, offense, and drug dealing. So what they do is they put masks over their face. You don't see their name. You might see sheriffs in the back of their uniform or so forth. Some of them don't, because some of them is in regular people outfit, regular civilian outfit. So these cat team busting your house, all you seeing is masked men with guns telling you to get down on the ground. You trying to run to your baby to grab your baby out the stroller to make sure they stop crying and go to the ground. They see you going, they might think you reason something and execute you inside that house. But the difference is, it is easier to sue, to put a lawsuit on the city or the county than a federal agent. That's what it make it different when it comes down to these entities. You have the federal government. The federal government is, you going to the federal government to ask the federal government, can I sue you, federal government? That's going to be very hard to bring a lawsuit against ICE.
Henry, because you know why? You're not understanding what you just said. You guys keep saying this, repeating this key point I keep making. You guys keep saying it in your analogies, not understanding this is the context I've been saying the whole time. These are non-uniform personnel. So they do not have to go by the rules of engagement or by the Uniform Codes of Conduct. I'm trying to tell you this.
No,
you just said.
You not.
You
wait,
just
wait,
hold
wait,
on.
wait.
I don't want to hold on. Let me get my
what we saying
I let
is
you
not.
speak this spot.
Wait.
I let you speak what you said.
What we are saying is not their policy. We're not saying the policy in their
That's why they're running
code.
it like
what
that. That's what you're not understanding.
The same action. What we saying is the same action they are committing. The police be committing the same action. What
and
I'm
you're
saying
not
is
understanding
we could
that
sue
I'm
the
saying
police,
the
but
reason why these people are
after
not getting charged. Hold on, you're not listening. This is why listening is fundamental to what I'm saying. The reason why these agents or officers, whatever scenarios you want to use, of these ununiformed personnel, non-uniform wearing personnel. I'm going to say it again. Non-uniform wearing personnel, meaning if they got ski masks on, they don't got name badges, they are not police in that moment. That means, that's why, think about it, right? Here we go. I'm going to prove it to you again through another way around with the Second Amendment. Congress said that if any law enforcement officer is illegally trying to take you into custody, your Second Amendment right is to blow them down. Has Congress not made that crystal clear? If there's no probable cause, you can blow them down because that's a kidnapping. That's a home invasion. If the police came, if the squatty comes downstairs right now, pulls up on your crib, kicks in your door without a warrant, all of them niggas is in trouble. Because you know the officers' names, you know their badge numbers, and now on the Monday morning tomorrow, you're going to go down to the courthouse and you're going to put a lawsuit on them.
That's if you survive.
No,
that's
first of all, you're going to survive. Listen, first of all, you're going to survive because if they came in a uniform capacity, that means they got enough to book you and cook you.
That's not true.
Remember, we're talking about the feds with a... Henry, look it up. Henry, look it up. What's the
All
federal
right, look,
court win
this
rate?
is what I want you to
What's the
understand. This is
federal
what I
court
want you to
win rate
understand.
percentage?
I
Henry,
look
look
at
up
the
what's the federal
overall
court
picture
win
and I
rate.
real one second.
Now,
I
you
look
can
at
say
the
what you're gonna say, but the statistic is gonna back
I
me
look
up.
at the overall picture, and the overall picture says this: you have no rights. Ain't nobody have to give you shit if you ain't willing to take it.
So
If
how
you're
are you
not willing
taking
to
it? If the police
defend
is
it,
still
if you're not willing
overwhelmed?
to defend it or take it and uphold it by rights of arms, people do not give you shit. You feel me? You don't know the government is not giving the individual shit. You feel me? We give the government the shit. And we got it messed
Yeah,
up.
but you're
So
not
when they
understanding
do
that
us
the
shit,
execution.
we be looking like, oh, they doing this to this man over here, they killing him or something like that, right? Right, yeah, they killing him. But I ain't see none of them people protecting him. You feel me?
Listen,
I ain't even see him protect
you're
himself.
still, that's because you guys is still not comprehending the 360-degree psychological capacity that of the game that's being run. I
Oh, I
told you
got it.
already.
It let me know
Hold
I
on,
could jump. You don't got no
I'm
right.
gonna repeat it again.
You
Listen,
have
I'm gonna
no right.
repeat it again. Listen, I'm gonna repeat it again. The fact that you guys keep bringing up stuff like that shows you're still not comprehending the execution. Non-uniform personnel do not work for the government. You
I know.
cannot be a non-uniform. Hold on. We're talking about legalities right now, and we're talking about in international courts. We're talking about sovereign bodies, and we're talking about the execution of justice, truth, and the law itself. So if you are not in uniform, then you are not subject to the law unless you are here to taken into custody while executing in a non-uniform capacity. Meaning, if these
Question.
people
One
ain't getting
question.
knocked off, hold on. You know what I'm saying? Listen to what I'm saying. If these ICE agents and these non-uniform personnel, these non-unruly police officers who's going in with no uniforms on, so they don't gotta follow the law either unless they get caught. Unless they get caught in the actions, you know what I'm saying? That is why they move like that. And then in the government, if you're in a federal government, and per se, like the CIA or agencies where they don't really acquire you as a possession. It's more that you're doing voluntary work, and if you get caught, you're not working for the government. You see what I'm saying? You're not seeing it for how they're actually really moving. Like, for example, if Minneapolis police was there and after they shot that man down, the police took them ICE agents into custody, their cover would be blown.
No,
And
it
now
won't.
they would have to face
No, it won't.
their cover would be blown.
No, they won't.
Their
Once they realize these are already undercover police doing their second tour. You feel me? These are these people. They
No,
show they
because
flash
they're
they
gonna get brought
badge.
into
They get
custody, though.
released. They get released.
Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying, right? Because if they get took into custody, the ICE agents, right? Now they know the identities of these agents who are masked up in a vigilante in a sense of secrecy.
Who
Now,
gonna
and
tell?
now hold on. Listen. We already know this is what's the executions because ICE had the list in the car that got broke into by the civilians and they stole the list. Come on, bro. They stole the fucking list. It's
I
that
got this
simple.
to say. I'm not talking about their rank. What I'm talking about is the behavior, not the
Bingo.
justification of the behavior, but where the behavior come from.
I got you.
So this African American people, we in the corner. In my city, that I was my hometown, say the north side is historical African American. A lot of police come there. So even if you not a person in the criminal field, you will witness the police come. We have this picture right here. Let me show a better form of it. Here they go. In the neighborhood, we can't tell if these are officers.
At all.
No mask or nothing. They in regular civilian clothes. One of them could come run on you and tackle you. You don't know if that's a police till this person tell you, I am a police officer. These are how they are dressing. The ICE agents are dressing. Yeah, they got the tactical suits on and stuff, but when you in a car, you can't tell because they do not have no uniform code. That means they are not dressing the same. Yeah, their policy might enforce them to not wear a uniform because they are not in the same category as a police. Understand that. But the tactic, we as African American in the hood see these people, we say, hey, the ICE doing the same thing from them, so they had to learn from somebody. And we saying, hey, this individual bringing a gun, we know in the neighborhood, just by it on the block, we can't have that gun. We got to put it somewhere easy for us to grab and easy for us to throw away, because the same thing ICE done is the same thing
What the police do.
an officer would do, especially if it's an undercover. If it's an undercover and he do that and still being an undercover, in the law system, it'd be hard to prosecute that officer because he is still in his job and in his ranking. He is undercover. He cannot break his undercover. He cannot leave that spot. So as ICE, what I'm saying when it comes down to ICE, what I'm saying is some of these ICE agents is formal cops. The tactics they are using, the police is trained in them same tactics.
They do the same shit.
They do the same thing. The way that they enforce the policies going after immigrants and everything else, the way they enforce their policy might be, no, not might be, but their policy is different than a police officer. The policies and their mission is different, but the tactics, I'm gonna word it right, their tactic of going inside people's houses without any markings that differentiate them from being police officers.
Yup.
Anybody could dress like an ICE agent.
Yup.
Just like they could dress as an undercover and play as a police officer. So anybody could dress as an ICE agent and play as an ICE agent. But the tactics that they use on civilian and illegal is the same thing police do. That's all we saying. We not saying that their position is the same. What we saying is the tactics, the hatred, the maneuvers that they do against others is the same.
Listen, all I'm saying, because everything you guys been saying tonight is on point from the stratagem that you're talking. But I'm trying to give you the whole game of the execution. Remember, everything you guys is saying is hinging on the Patriot Act. And either you're with the government or you're against them. That's the only two choices.
We been knew that.
Hold on. Stop saying we been knew that. Because that's not the most important part of what I'm saying. I know we been knew that. But the execution is now to the point where they're bringing in non-uniform personnel to get around law, to get around the law itself. That's what I've been trying to tell y'all the whole time. They publicly executed that. Listen, they publicly.
What law do they have to uphold? They never uphold law for black people.
They're non-uniform personnel. Can you prove to me those 6 people didn't wet his ass up because their bloods are Crips?
They might be.
All right, then. So then you can't say that what I'm saying is
false. Listen
hold on.
The Bloods and Crips was created.
Listen.
By
and guess what? But
police.
How you're approaching, but how you're approaching the overall situation is too narrow and incorrect based on the stratagem, based on the law. You keep saying, well, if we don't got to follow the law, you're not understanding. By them not being uniform personnel, they are following the law. They cannot be a government entity moving the way that they're moving, executing people on the internet and for everybody to see, the 2 white people and who else, God knows what else they're doing. And the execution of it is because they are non-uniform personnel. Like I said, you can't tell me if those dudes is Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, none of that. You can't tell me if they're in the KKK. You can't tell me anything specific about any of the people who committed this assault in this video because you don't know any of their identities. You don't know any type of badge number, agent identification code. You don't know anything. You can't even tell me what color eyes the assailants had. And you're telling me that it has to go by law. No, the law states clearly. This is why I brought up the Geneva Convention. Because in the Geneva Convention...
We're not a signer. The United States never signed it.
You can't just cut me off.
They signed it.
Because how do you know what I'm saying is not going to bring a clarification to what I'm saying? Understanding me. In the Geneva Convention, it says you have the right as a sovereign nation to use your force, your full force on your own citizens, but you do not have the right to exercise it against foreign countries. How do they get around this rule? Because it says uniform code. People who are in uniform codes have to follow codes. So how does the governments of the world, like Henry said earlier, because it goes back to what's been done in the Middle East over and over again, what's been done in Eastern Europe over and over again, what's been done in Eastern Africa over and over again, what's been done in West Africa and South America over and over again. It's non-uniform personnel who don't have to follow the rules of engagement, and they are causing the social and governmental disruption of countries by destabilizing the populace and making them volatile against their said government. And that is because they are using non-uniform personnel. What do they tell you? What is the rule of the CIA? If you get caught, the CIA disavows any and all knowledge of your prior existence to you getting caught. Everybody knows that part, but everybody so happens to overlook it. That's why you don't have a uniform on. That's why in certain states, if Henry got the videos, it shows in New York and other more blue states that the police are taking it on their own and ushering ICE out of there. And if they got to, take them into custody. But the police probably been told not to take the ICE officials into custody because of the fact that their identity could get exposed. And then you know how much trouble that you would be in if you're a police officer and like and like your identity of the person you just arrested is an undercover operative, and you got him put on Front Street. Now everybody knows his name. Everybody knows what he looks like. Everybody, when before he was just a masked assailant. He was just a masked assailant. Think about it. How different would the story be in the execution of justice if one of those officers didn't have his mask on? And they shot that man down like that. He would be getting all the premeditated murder charges.
So
Because he would have to say
like
he was working for the uniform, right?
let's look at it like this also.
Because to defend his position, no, listen to what I'm saying. Because to defend his position now, right, as his identity being exposed, he's gonna have to now justify his action against the law, because now that his identity has been exposed, he has to expose what uniform he works for, or he's going to go to jail for personal murder because he's not an agent or an officer.
Let me add this in here. So you got these unnamed individuals, these unidentified individuals, ununiformed, and you got police on the other side. You got police on the right side, and you got these unnamed individuals in masks. One is licensed to do whatever they want, and the other one licensed to follow by a set code. Cool. We understand that. We broke them in two. But what we got to also add is this. The ones who is on code and supposed to abide by the principles and everything is doing the same tactics as the ones who don't have to abide by them rules. In the African American community, African Americans in the hood been experiencing the same thing these ICE agents are doing to regular civilians and immigrants. The ICE agent might have power that they could do what they doing, and the police might don't have the power to do what they doing, but the police are doing it anyway in the African American community.
White, listen to me. Poor people community, period.
Yeah.
Poor people community, period.
Yeah,
it don't
people,
matter
yeah.
if you're white, don't matter if you're Latino, it don't matter if you're black. Y'all gonna get the same fucking treatment. You're gonna get a bullet in your head if you get in their way. Off the dump. Don't, especially if you got a gun. It's execution off the dump, and ain't nobody gonna be saying nothing about it. They don't care if they come with a badge. They don't come if they come in uniform or not uniform. Nigga, the census has always been that they run this shit. They run everything in this country. It don't matter. You feel me? You don't got no rights here. That illusion has been disappeared. That illusion has been disappeared. Don't sit here and tell the people y'all got rights, y'all got to do this. Man, these people don't do nothing. They don't care. Look, they'll let you go to court. They'll play you off for years, even give you some money. Then when you walk out that courtroom and you walk around that corner, they slip you in a limo and slip some dope in your veins. You feel me? Shoot you in the back of your head and say it was suicide. You feel me? They don't care. You have no rights here. That's an illusion. They playing on your top.
bro. It's like
Don't sleep
state
around here talking about y'all got rights. They can't kill you whenever they want to. Yes, they can. They do whatever they want. This is a lawless country. This is the wild, wild west.
Yeah, but you gotta remember something though, too, though, because the people who's in charge. This is why you have to understand what I'm coming from, but what I'm saying. The people who's in charge at the top, right?
The
They don't
rich.
want anarchy. They don't want anarchy, right? They don't want anarchy because they don't want everybody running around lawless with no control methodology. So therefore, the police officer has to go by his script, right?
That's why. Look, that's why.
Listen, hold on. Before I get too deep, because I know you guys are gonna start saying stuff. So I'm gonna say this. It doesn't mean that the police officer individually can't go off script, but their script is a police officer. You get what I'm saying?
I get you.
All right. So there we go. Now, when they don't
But
have a uniform, hold on.
you
'Cause I'm
know
gonna
they
go
go off script, right? You know they go off script, right?
hold on. But that
All the
doesn't matter. That
time.
doesn't matter. What they choose to do individually doesn't matter with that, because I just said it's a whole entire script. To be a policeman, are you gonna? You're going in there and telling them when you say your oath, I'm gonna shoot people up as soon as I see them, like it's Grand Theft Auto. All right, then. I thought so.
They do
You know
it.
what I'm saying?
They do it.
Listen, on what oath? Show me the public oath somebody took where they said they was gonna shoot people up like it's Grand Theft Auto. Show me the award ceremony.
No, you don't understand. You understand.
Show me the award ceremony and the promotion ceremonies where they said, I'm going to kill 100 people this year. Right.
No.
All right, then. So
No, they do.
Hold on. Because they got to keep the system structure together at the most foundational methodology. So they have to give an air of how the system works and that the system works. Now, am I saying that means that individuals are not going to take it among themselves with their free will to do what they want to do? No, I never said that. But I'm telling you, based off the script XYZ, this is how it goes. You need to go. So if that's like saying if somebody needs you to go left, right, and then go around the corner, and you go right, left, and then go around the corner and you get shot up, that's not that person's fault. They didn't give you the wrong directions. It's because you wanted to go the way you wanted to go. You know what I'm saying? So have an understanding of what I'm saying. I'm not saying that people can't go off script. I'm not saying that the jump out boys ain't doing the same thing that other people's doing. But guess what? The jump out boys is non-uniform. They don't got a uniform on until they pull that badge out their chest. And before that, how you supposed to know if they're running up on you and jackknifing you on your car and jumping out the vehicle, and you don't just hit 3 of them up with the Uzi just by off of the wrist spray? You just kill 3 of them. And the one who lived, he's telling when the responders come, he's telling them, you guys shot him up. They ran up on you. You blew them down. And now all 3 of them off. Now they find out 3 of them non-uniform people was officers. So now the police office is going to come after you because they was uniform officers when the EMTs showed up and them badges was on their chest.
All right, now check this out. For most black people, right? And for most people, say poverty and poor, they got convictions. And you know, if you're an illegal alien or illegal, you don't got no right to bear no arm. You can't buy no gun legally. If you got one, it's illegal. You feel me? So if you do that, 9 out of 10, they come in and get, oh yeah, he was a convicted felon or it was an illegal gun, because we have no record of him having one. You feel me? So bam, yeah, we gotta get him. You know what I'm saying? He already breaking the law. So he was breaking the law when our people jumped out on him anyway. Even though they didn't have no right to jump out on him, they just looked at him and suspected that he was doing something wrong because he looked suspicious. What was suspicious about him? His color. We can't say that. We just say he was acting suspicious. was acting suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Kept on reaching for something. You know what I'm saying? Bam. You know, so we
Yeah, but
started him, and we
now why
started him.
I can
We
understand
started
that.
him. He lit us up. He lit us up. Now we wet. You feel me? Now what was up now? You feel me?
Yeah,
How
but
they
that's
go down?
justified. Hold on. But that would be justified in this case if we're talking about it how you said by the parameters, right? But the victim in this case has an extreme difference of a clean record, and his gun was registered. He had a registered firearm. It wasn't like he was there with an illegal firearm. Hell, if you watch the video, he didn't do anything illegal.
So how he knew it was ice?
Listen, it don't matter.
How did
It
he
don't
know
matter.
it was ice?
Listen, it don't matter because they blew him down, right? Number one. Number two, nobody's being held accountable individually. Number three, nobody's ever going to know who shot and killed that man. We're never going to know their names. We're never going to know who they are. Those people are scot-free. And that's because the government said that they're scot-free because there's no responsibility in doing the government work. If you're at work and you could be at work
We
for the
know
federal.
that.
Hold on, listen, you could be at work for the federal government cleaning up the bullshit litter in the park and somebody approach you the wrong way and you can blow them down.
We know, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I'm not even just talking about agents I'm not even just talking about a regular agent where he can blow you
You
down.
know Mr. Smith
I'm
exists,
talking
right?
about Hartford. I'm talking
Yes,
about
yes,
federal
you
officers.
yes.
Anybody with a federal government, even if they work in the Department of Education, they could blow you down.
Yeah,
And they
don't
get
mess.
away with it because they're a federal entity. They're a federal agent.
Yep.
They're operating as a representative of the United States government. Therefore, attacking them is an attack on the United States government. If you attack the United States, I said this already one time in the show, and I'm trying to tell you guys, this is the real applications of the knowledge that they gave me on these subjects. If you attack the United States government, they will retaliate without prejudice. Without prejudice. That means you have
So
no rights. There's no negotiation. They're blowing you down. They're going to blow you all the way down.
they ain't nothing
They'll
new.
blow you in your listen, they'll blow you down and they'll blow down every living family member you got left just to make sure you're blown all the way down and you never come back. Let's not play games with the United States government and act like they didn't just walk up into a whole nother sovereign country with a whole military with only 6 Delta Force agents and high-tech weaponry, enough that there was no casualties. Nobody even in the United States side even suffered a sprained ankle or a stretched muscle. You know what I'm saying? Muscle spasms. Come on, bro. Think about what I'm saying here. They don't want to get that. Like, you have to understand, we are in an active war situation too. It's a wartime situation. Because ask yourself this question. Remember, the Patriot Act initiates the war, right? And it brings in the justifications of the actions of all parties involved with the federal government's execution on the war on terror. And part of the war on terror is enemy combatants, which is clearly lined up in the Patriot Act. You could bring that section out if you want, Henry, where it lines it up about enemy combatants and what it means to be an enemy combatant. And they will blow you down. So this man, when he tried to defend that lady, even though he's a good citizen, right? To this point, we can say he's a good citizen. When he jumped in the middle of that ICE agent and that lady, he became an enemy combatant. He became instantly an enemy combatant. And those people ICE there are already non-uniform personnel. So if he became an enemy combatant, then there's no rules to govern his rights or his due process. Because when they be saying, oh, he had the 14th Amendment, the right to due process. And then I find that peculiar because why wouldn't you say the 4th and the 5th Amendment too for illegal search and procedure? For illegal search and procedure and the seizure and forfeiture of assets, i.e., being his firearm and his life, his physical life. He had to forfeit those assets in the forfeiture to the government entity because he declared to be an enemy combatant. So they put him away like an enemy combatant. Ask the Taliban or ask any of them other people in Venezuela if they didn't suffer the wrath when they became enemy combatants.
Go ahead and read this for us because I'm a slow reader.
An enemy combatant is a term used to describe individuals engaged in hostilities against the United States, particularly in context of the war on terror, allowing for detention without the standard legal protections. See, there you go. That's all I had to say. Now look it up, Henry. Look up the one where I said about non-uniform personnel in the Geneva Convention. Look up non-uniform personnel.
But wait. Before I go to this point, right here, y'all see, oh man, because this all lined up like this, I can't tag on. Okay, it say typically on behalf of opposing government or non-state actors. As an individual and you're not working for the state or a country, you're a non-state actor and you oppose the government.
You become an enemy combatant.
Non-state actor. We not working for Russia. We not working for China. We not working for a state. We doing it for our individual freedoms or liberties or rights. And
put non-uniform personnel.
We go against the United States.
Put non-uniform personnel too, Henry.
I ain't bucking the system.
Because that's a good definition to go over too. Non-uniform personnel. See, this is what it is. You're ready? A non-uniform personnel or civilian employees. Now, remember, you just said, we just told you these are federal agents. But when they don't have their uniforms on, that's why when you notice when Marines and different branches of the service move throughout the matrix, that even when they're off duty, depending on where they're going, they're going to still wear their uniform. And they wear different types of uniforms to signify the status of which they are. Like in the Marine Corps, they wear the dress blues when it's an occasion of a celebration or if it's some formal gatherings. Now, if you understand the codes of conduct, then you understand why they wear these certain uniforms at these certain times and only at these certain times. Now, it says that, but an employee doesn't have to wear a certain uniform. They are staff members with military and law enforcement agencies who do not wear a uniform, but they carry firearms and still possess arresting powers. They provide critical administrative, technical, and supportive functions, enabling sworn officers to focus on the core law enforcement duties, because a non-uniform personnel is a form of espionage. Now watch, I'm going to add espionage. See, here we go. That's called, so now a non-uniform personnel that's involved in the espionage is called in the definitions a clandestine human intelligence. See how that goes too? Now you're a clandestine human intelligence, meaning they're identifying you as a human intelligence that doesn't think with the collective. You're separate from the collective, meaning that you're not following the rules. You are unruly. You broke the rules. You follow a different
Hey,
set of rules than the
well, fella,
standard rules. Hold on, but following the standard rules. Now, espionage by non-uniform personnel involves civilians, contractors, or undercover agents collecting, transmitting, or losing national defense information to a foreign power, violating U.S. Title 18 U.S.C. subsection 792-798. These individuals, often called clandestine human intelligence sources, may include moles, people who are recruited for access, defectors recruited after they want to destabilize, or defectors in place as people who are defectors, but they were put in place by the actual authority. So you have to understand these are actors, include civilians, contractors, employees of private intelligence agencies, and members of non-state actors. Henry said it already. When the 5-0 come in your house or run up on you and they're non-uniform, you're supposed to blow them down. According to the Constitution, you're supposed to blow them down because they didn't readily identify themselves as law enforcement and they didn't go by the codes of conduct that they were supposed to adhere to in order to fall under to the umbrella of immunity from law enforcement umbrella, from law enforcement. Now, if you would have blew them down, now obviously depending on who responded to the scene, the first responders is going to claim that these undercover cops was really police because when they search the body, they going to have the police badges on them. So now you in trouble because you done took out 3 cops without context. Now, let alone, that's why everybody is saying if it wasn't for the video, it would have been hard to believe that that ICE didn't blow him down for having the gun. You know, they would have been able to get away with it if they didn't have the videotape. They would have said he had a gun and we shot him in defense. And then it would have came back, the firearm was registered to him and all this, that, and the third, and they would have had to let him go. And now XYZ has to happen to the officers because he had his own actual gun and he blew them down with his registered firearm. But these officers didn't readily identify themselves. So he had the right for defense because he wasn't committing crimes.
yeah, that's mostly right. That's how it go down, man. That's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? That if you ain't willing to fight for your freedom or your life, then it is what it is. Then when you know, like I was asking earlier, he didn't know who that was. You know what I'm
Like, let
saying?
me
He
say
taking
something. Let
pictures
me
of
ask you
him
a
and shit
question,
like that.
Patrick.
He didn't know if they was ice or nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a
So
question, Patrick. Let me ask you a question. Are you blowing down uniformed police? Let's
no,
say in a regular situation, like what was going unfolding, like a traffic stop or some disturbing the peace type situation. Are you blowing the police down? If the police, like say for example, let's do a different scenario than this ICE situation, but similar execution of tactics, right? So say you was at the bar chilling and they run down and uniformed police run down on you. Are you going to blow them down or are you going to cooperate to a certain extent?
It depends on what state I'm in.
I'm asking you. No, I'm asking you off of just
Yeah, it's
GP.
like if I'm in the right state of mind and I know I ain't do nothing.
I'm talking
Nah,
about just off of GP. That means that it's
no,
no
no, no.
circumstantial extra shit. It's just the basic
But no,
program.
no.
They
General
run up
purpose
on
say,
you.
yeah,
They
no,
run up
no.
on
I
you.
answer that.
And you
After that,
cooperate.
no, no,
So
no,
you're
no,
just blowing the police. So you're just gonna blow the police down off the rip. This is
no.
what I'm talking about. Those are your only two options, though.
What?
Is you're either gonna be civilized or you gotta blow them right down.
I will not
These
be
are the only
civilized.
two options you got. There's no none of that. What attitude I'm in? I don't give a fuck, nigga. It's you blowing these niggas down when they run up, or are you cooperating to a certain extent? And by cooperating, it doesn't mean snitching or nothing like that. By cooperating, that means like if they say, "Hey, what's up, man?" You're like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing today?" That's cooperating still. That doesn't mean that you're giving them information. It just means you're in a civilized dialogue, right? You're approaching them civilly how you're supposed to. This is what I'm asking you. Or when he comes up and he says, "Hey, what's up, man?" You're pulling the strap out and you're blowing them down. And I'm talking about uniformed police. You're outside
no,
chilling, and it's uniformed police who pull up.
no,
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 you're not
no,
gonna blow
no,
them down. But listen, all
no.
right. So now hold on, because we got to do both sides of the argument, both sides of the coin. But now let's do the same scenario, Patrick. Because I'm not trying to say it in a way where I'm trying to apply massive scenarios. I'm trying to do a compare and contrast of the two scenarios we're talking about. Now, if they ran up on you, they didn't have uniforms on, these niggas got shiesties, you see them start jumping out the whip, you're blowing them down.
No question that.
You understand what I'm saying, right? You're not gonna be
no
trying to
question.
negotiate with them niggas with the ski mask and the body armor on, jumping out the wheels. You ain't gonna be trying to negotiate with them. You're gonna be trying to blow them down. Now understand. This is what I'm talking about: the difference between uniform and non-uniform personnel. Because the cops, there's a chance that nothing is wrong. The cops could be pulling up to tell you, "Oh, yo, your neighbor called. They said the music's too loud. Can you turn it down?" You just blew them down on a noise complaint.
Yeah.
Now you get murder charges, and all you have to do is turn the music down.
Music down.
Now, right? But when when the master assailants jump out, it ain't none of that.
Hey, Jamal, I gotta go.
It ain't none of that probability shit coming out.
Oh, we gotta,
ain't
we
none
gotta
of that helping it.
I wanna, so we'll call it a good night. We did a whole 2 hours and 30-some minutes. I want to thank y'all for coming on. Want to appreciate everybody for coming and watch the show. I don't have a lot to say except for RIP to the ones who lost their lives and also the ones who deal with police fatalities on the day-to-day. And I just hope things work out for the best, because we here at News, Never in the Working Service, we want to bring the information that really matters to us, the people. And I want to thank you, Say Pat, for coming back on and being a special guest. And I want to thank you, Shin Akma JML, for coming on and dropping the information. This was a wonderful show. We hit on some deep topic. We gave some different scenarios that most shows don't talk about. I just hope they don't go through the algorithm and think we said something that make us seem like we something that we are not. We are not no terrorists. We just giving opinions. We voicing our hearts as American citizens. We are not against the government. We just here to say, hey, we feel some stuff is wrong, and we just want to bring it to the light. So, St. Pat, you want to say something before we go?
I just want to say, man, love, peace, and y'all be blessed and take care, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Y'all let me back on, and I appreciate everything, man. Y'all take care.
So, Shin, something to say before we jet up out of here?
All right. Well, you know what I gotta say is positive vibe bring positive results. Positive results means that you're accomplishing your goals. Even though you go through a negative circumstance, it doesn't mean you can't have a positive outcome. Now, just to speak on one last thing too, you know, you need to take care of yourself out here in this world because the decisions we make today can make sure that we're in a good position tomorrow. But at the same time, you see how easy one bad choice can erase a whole life's worth of good deeds and good works. And and I want to just say my condolence to the family of the man who lost his life. And I also want to say that, like Henry said, we here at News is not against the government, but we do have to the right to air out our grievance against the government, and we also do have the right to give the information as we see fit, because we're not speaking any extremist viewpoints. We're not telling people any type of actionable executions in the reality of the world in which we live. So therefore, legally, we are not responsible or liable here at News for anybody's further action based on anything that we've said or brought to the forefront.
So, I want to thank everybody again. Make sure you hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the bell notification for latest updates, downloads, and live. Everything is life. Life is life. It got a negative, it got its positive. But while we experience this life, let's do the best we can for the next generation. Let's leave a piece of knowledge. Thank you all for tuning into the show. We might don't have all the answers, but we are not afraid to go on a quest and ask all the hard questions. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your night. This is the Newsroom 16.1.